EU states have decided that one state and one state only should be in charge of examining an asylum application. This system of rules, known as Dublin, prevents asylum seekers from starting multiple asylum procedures in different EU states. If they try doing so, they can be transferred to the only country in charge of the asylum application. According to the Dublin rules, this country is the one through which the asylum seeker has entered the EU. In practice, when non-European asylum seekers enter the territory of the European Union without a permit, their fingerprints are collected and stored in a large-scale IT system called Eurodac. Imagine that a Syrian woman wants to go to Germany, but she cannot travel legally because she does not own a passport or because her visa request has been refused. She arrives in the European Union through Greece, by sea, in a boat, with the help of a smuggler from Turkey. Her fingerprints are collected by the Greek police. Facing many difficulties and dangers, she continues her journey through Macedonia, Serbia, Hungary and Austria. Finally, she reaches Germany, where she applies for asylum. According to the Dublin system, the German authorities will first check which state is responsible for examining the asylum application. They will consult the Eurodac system and see that her fingerprints were taken in Greece. Consequently, Greece will be considered the state in charge of the asylum procedure, and Germany will organize the transfer of the woman back to Greece. It would have been different if this woman had received a German visa, namely a permit to travel legally, and had traveled directly to Germany by plane. In this case, the state in charge would have been Germany. In practice, and as an underlying rule, this Dublin system puts the responsibility on the states through which the asylum seeker has entered the EU. Some exceptions to this rule are possible. Let's imagine that an asylum seeker has a family member who has already applied for asylum in one European state. In that case, the same state should be in charge of both applications, so that husband, wife and children below 18 years old are kept together. Exceptionally, Dublin rules do not apply to children under 18 years old who come alone, without their families, to the European Union. The Dublin system has been in place for more than 30 years, yet there are several weak points in its very functioning. The distribution of asylum applications in the European Union is not based on the population size or the economy of each state, but mostly on its geographical position on the map of Europe. Countries located at the southern and eastern borders of the EU are much more affected by the spontaneous arrival of asylum seekers, because those countries are easier to reach outside the EU territory. Suppose an EU state faces a number of asylum requests so high that it cannot manage them. In that case, the Dublin system requires all the other states not to transfer asylum seekers back to this country. For example, this happened several times in 2011 as well as in 2015 and in 2020, when the Greek authorities could not longer provide food and shelter to all asylum seekers who arrived on the Greek islands by sea. You must have noticed that the asylum seekers in the Dublin system cannot choose the country in which they want to apply for protection. Their background, language skills or intentions are not taken into account. For example, a man coming from Democratic Republic of Congo could wish to apply for asylum in France because he speaks French or might have a network willing to support him. Yet, even if the Dublin system is based on the assumption that all asylum systems are the same in every EU state and that asylum applications are treated under the same rules, in practice there are considerable disparities in national asylum policies. The quality of the material support that states should provide asylum seekers can also vary significantly from one EU state to another, such as the conditions of accommodation. For instance, in Germany, asylum seekers are obliged to reside in a specific area of the country, whereas in other EU states they would be able to settle anywhere within the national territory. Similarly, France and Ireland do not allow asylum seekers to work while awaiting their asylum decision, while Belgium and other EU states allow them to work. Therefore, the country where the asylum application is examined is relevant and makes the difference.